Hey guys, it's great to meet everyone. So Carla and Janney, thanks for coming on board the podcast. Now, as I was mentioning to you guys just like a couple of minutes ago, honestly, these podcasts are really for us to really share our true thoughts with people, right? And the reason why I reached out to you guys was because well, firstly, you guys are the first foreigners that we have. Everyone we've interviewed so far, and I've interviewed about six or seven so far, they're all Malaysians. So I think it's so interesting to hear perspective from foreigners. And how cool is it? We have someone, well, from Singapore, which is always amazing, but super awesome to have Carla from like totally out of this region entirely as well, right? So I must say that that's extra interesting. And given the fact that you guys are both female entrepreneurs as well, I realized that you guys have a great story to tell or something interesting, right? And so shall we start maybe by you guys want to introduce yourself and share with the audience, about yourselves? Maybe start with Janney first, then Carla. Yeah.
Thanks for that introduction. Yes, it's always great if you actually want to know a little bit more how actually you and us came to know of each other. That's another interesting side story, right? But for now, I think Carla and I, we have our own personal stories. And then I think Carla will also share a little bit of how we kind of came together and that stories molded together into this company that we currently have. So for me, right, personally, a couple of years ago, I've been in corporate for a couple of years now. I've always felt like I was drifting a little in life, doing quite well, and on the surface, but it just always seemed like something was a little bit missing, you know. And sometime after, I had a friend who seemingly had a perfect life. She had everything she needed in life, okay, but she was also in despair. And I've always loved people, right? I took that really as a sign to kind of embark on figuring out how best to help people achieve this mental and emotional resilience. Yeah, so that's my personal story. Then I have Carla kind of share a little bit more about hers.
Yeah, mine is a little different. I think for me, the starting point was when I was really young. So my family and I experienced grief through a loss of a loved one, and that's what really pushed us to find purpose in life, to find and achieve inner peace, and just be happy again, find joy again. And through that journey, I sort of discovered different wellness tools and techniques that I continue to apply throughout my life. And I use a lot of these techniques to this day in different areas of life. And I just want to share it with others. I want to help others who want to live happier and find inner peace and joy again in life. That's what I think made us come together. So when Janney actually introduced this idea to me, it made a lot of sense. We clicked. We have this shared vision of wanting to help others with their own well-being. And yes, we come from two completely different places, but we actually both grew up with well-being, with self-discovery and in self-awareness. And we just want to bring it to society, to share it with everyone else. And we met at university a few years ago. Actually, we met abroad. So we both studied in the UK, but we didn't meet in the UK. We met in South America when we were doing a year abroad. And everything went from there.
No, that's interesting. I would like to ask you guys, how is it like working with people from different cultures, one from Singapore and one from Croatia? What's the experience like? Two entrepreneurs from two different cultures.
Maybe I'll just share a little bit about that. So I think in terms of skill sets and chemistry, that's really something that you need to kind of explore and sift out when you pick a co-founder. When we have that shared vision and we understand the industry and the problem and what we're trying to create so clearly, I felt like the culture parts weren't really a problem, you know. And obviously also Carla's education was in the UK. We kind of very naturally got together and worked together very seamlessly through that.
Amazing stuff. A lot of our entrepreneurs out there, most of them are men, right? And of all the entrepreneurs I've interviewed, I would say out of the 6 I've interviewed, well, 80% were men, right? Only 1% interviewed was a woman entrepreneur, female entrepreneur. So now we have here 2 female entrepreneurs from 2 very different backgrounds. Can you guys share what's it like being a woman founder, woman entrepreneur, and what are the challenges that you guys face, or what are the opportunities you guys have as well? Maybe just share experience on that.
Actually, I think it's a really good question, but I would say we haven't focused too much on that and sort of thinking of it as a problem. I think we always saw it as a good thing, as an opportunity. I think women have a lot more empathy and understanding. Obviously, I'm generalizing, but we focus sort of on the good stuff of a good side of being a female entrepreneur. We haven't sort of analyzed it as, oh my God, we are this and that, and how we're going to achieve this if we're not men. And so I would say definitely focusing on the positive side.
And separately, the startup space is trying to accommodate more female founders. A lot of these VCs are pledging a certain amount of their funds to female funded startups.
Yeah.
There's some specifically even female focused VCs. And those for us could actually be an advantage. We are just at the initial stage of fundraising. So we might check in, if you're checking with us next year, then maybe we might be able to tell you a little bit more of our struggles in that context.
Oh, that's amazing. Given that you guys are both from 2 very different countries, one in Singapore and Carla has been in the UK and also in Croatia, can you share what's the startup scene like in these countries? What's your experience like in them? Yeah, because we do know a lot of countries, especially in Southeast Asia, sometimes it's hard to get funding, not so startup friendly, Asian mindset versus European mindset, Western mindset. Maybe you guys can share your thoughts on that.
Maybe I'll just start off with that, because we are based here in Singapore, we are registered here. A lot of the fundraising will probably begin here with our efforts. So I think the startup scene in Singapore shouldn't need any introduction. It's very mature, very supported by both the government, as well as all the stakeholders that have come in, investments that has come into the space. So in terms of investments, I have heard from the space that obviously investors in Asia are much more cautious. They are less willing to put money into a big idea like Ashton Kutcher did with Airbnb, or I believe that. Yeah, something like that. It was a crazy idea. I'm going to invest. I think that's very different sentiments for Asian investors. And when we kind of craft our pitch decks and our conversations with Asian investors, we take that approach of making sure we're very detailed in our go-to-market strategies in every aspect of the conversation that we speak with them, and also showing them very clearly a certain roadmap and when that ROI is going to come back is definitely the approach that we're going to take with Asian investors.
Yeah. What about
Carla?
Carla?
I want to add a little bit about I think Eastern Europe, there's a bit of happening.
I think I'll start with the UK. I think it's a very similar space to Singapore in terms of it being mature, and there's so much happening in the UK and so many opportunities, especially in terms of mental health, holistic wellness, the space that we're in. I think it's even more mature than Southeast Asia. So that's always we always look at the UK and North America and see, okay, what's going on there, because it's something that's going to eventually come to Asia and Southeast Asia as well. In terms of Eastern Europe, I think it's a new thing in Eastern Europe. It varies depending on the country, but I would say, for example, Croatia is such a small market, so the startup space is just not as big, or there's not many opportunities, and investors just don't see an opportunity because it's such a small market. But hopefully things will change.
Yeah, it's interesting to see that. I mean, I even heard somewhere once, apparently Singapore's venture capital market is like worth like 1 day of Singapore VC market is like equivalent to 1 year of Malaysian market. And I'm from Malaysia, right? So I can clearly say that, yeah, Singapore or even London, UK, the opportunities there are huge, right? Which is crazy. I would like for the audience to hear more about your personal stories as founders, right? So far, if you guys could share whatever you can share about just your personal journey, your background, and like who you guys are. How do you guys come to become founders? What was the journey like? Because it's not an easy process for anyone to take a leap of faith and start something, right? Maybe you guys can share about your personal journey and story so that other entrepreneurs out there can relate to you guys and understand your backgrounds better.
Okay.
Do you want to start?
Yeah, maybe I'll start. So I would just say it's kind of an elaboration of what we've shared with you as a summary, as an introduction to our kind of story into the business. Personally, I was in sales for quite a couple of years, but in terms of starting a business, it's always been something I was on the lookout for. Even when I traveled before, it was always to look for inspiration. But it never really stuck, I think for you to really put your savings in, and Carla and I, we said 5 to 8 hours on video calls in the lockdown every single day. Like that takes, you have to really like what you're talking about, basically. Like I wouldn't sell something I didn't believe about, and absolutely that's what Carla would say, right? So it was really kind of nailing that when the idea kind of aligned with my purpose was when I realized, okay, I'm willing to put in a bit of money. I'm going to start looking for people to work on a particular idea. And when that idea really has that, it settles in your soul. When an individual hears it, those people become your co-founders, and we kind of dedicate our lives to getting this product out to everybody.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I was working in London at the time, in marketing with in e-commerce companies and companies that do a lot of tech stuff. But I always kind of knew that eventually I would do something with mental health and holistic wellness. I just wasn't. I just didn't know when and what, but I knew I wanted to trust the process, and I knew that the right time would come, and that's when everything happened, and Janney approached me, and everything made sense to me. I do the same thing as Janney. I listen to my heart, as cliche that is, and if it makes sense, I will go into it, and it's as simple as that.
Amazing stuff. One more question about, I guess, you guys, right? As founders, people working remotely as well. What makes a good co-founder? Like what do you look out for? Like, why do you guys work well together? Or do you guys, secretly wish someone did something better? What's the trick to finding good co-founders and partners?
Good question.
You can go first, Carla.
So,
what do
you like about Janney?
Co-founder. I think Janney, we always talk about this, we really complement each other. I think that is the best thing about this partnership is that, for example, Janney likes taking risks. She's a lot more risk prone, whereas I'm on the other side. I'm very risk averse, and that's a good thing. This balance is a good thing in business. And there's other areas where we also complement each other. She looks at things from a sales perspective. I look at things from a marketing perspective. Again, they're two different perspectives but we align. We just do it well. I think we're also quite flexible, which is really needed because every day is different. And sometimes things are working out, sometimes things are not working out, and you have to be able to look at it and say, okay, this is not working, let's pivot, let's switch it up. And this is something that I really appreciate when it comes to Janney's work, is she's able to be realistic and self-aware and say, okay, like, I understand what's going on.
Yeah, and just to add to a bit of what Carla said, for both of us, I think we've even written a Medium article about this, right? About working in the different time zones. For us particularly, I also tend to be, we like a lot of structure, we're figuring things out together. But what's really tricky is, can you trust your co-founder? Is this a problem that your co-founder really, really believes in? Or it's just something that, oh, I have an opportunity to work on a startup, I kind of do it half-hearted. I think that is dangerous for either parties and for the business as a whole. And it's just great that Carla and I come together, we assign tasks, we settle sort of the milestones for the next couple of months, and we go and do our stuff, and we come back and there's results. And I think that's something that really ensures that the partnership's effective and we work really well together. The way we brainstorm and manage conflict, we don't really have conflict. Like the way we sort of do discussions and have debates is just very, maybe it's just because we're in wellness and well-being, we're just incredibly careful and sensitive, and but also straightforward and task focused,
Yeah. I can't relate just because I have a guy, man as my co-founder. So, but I definitely can understand if women co-founders are definitely way more sensitive, and it's something that I understand clearly that, or I believe that women co-founders clearly bring a lot to the table. There are a lot of investors don't see, right? And there were women entrepreneurs who telling me that investors have a very traditional mindset. They pick men co-founders over women co-founders for stereotype reasons and all that. But sensitivity, when you said that word, I'm like, I agree to it. I think women are way more sensitive.
Just to add a little bit more into that space.
Yeah.
So when we're sharing a bit about personal stuff, I didn't really share the industry that I was in. So I was from a maritime space, right? It's very male dominated, and it's a very rough industry, right? You can go into meeting rooms and people are yelling at each other across the table. So, and then you go in there and just try to calm everybody down, and can we all at least have an effective, calm conversation going forward? But yeah, people just get passionate and yelling.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, like, I remember reading an article somewhere, like how many, like, just because men have, I would say, I don't know if it's true, but bigger egos than women, that they just end up like, seeing who's the bigger guy and all that kind of stuff, and just causes so much problems. Right.
But if you're really, really task focused, I think a lot of people can actually put their egos aside and just, have the completing the task as the priority.
Okay. Yeah, I understand.
Not sure how it works, but
yeah. Just one more follow-up question since we're on this kind of topic. Jordan Peterson, which is a very famous, you guys know Jordan Peterson, by the way?
I've heard of his name.
Okay.
Not really forgot what he did.
Jordan Peterson is a very, very, very famous psychologist who often said that men can go to extremes and women value wholeness. So just for all the entrepreneurs out there, what's life like running a startup? Because for a lot of women entrepreneurs and investors may think something along the lines of, oh, because the women entrepreneurs down the road, they need to raise a family, have kids, find a potential partner. Women entrepreneurs, correct me if I'm wrong, may get stereotyped in saying they are not willing to give everything up for that. They're not willing to put in the crazy hours and sacrifice even family, because ultimately, according to Jordan Peterson, women value wholeness, while men will say, you know what, forget everything else. I'll sacrifice the family, the kids, the relationship, and just grow the business. It's just an article I'm quoting, so it's just a person I'm quoting. But I'm curious to hear, what are your personal lives like running a startup? Are you guys personally willing to give everything up and go all out on all this? How do you guys weigh the balance ultimately, right? When it comes down to it, like, yeah.
Janney?
Yeah, okay. First off, I'd like to also remind that we are in the well-being mental health solution space. So
Yes.
yeah, when Carla and I, we get a little bit stressed out and we're pushing ourselves a little bit too much, we actually remind ourselves to just relax a little, go slow, do what you need to do, and see results unfold. Because sometimes I feel like there's a lot of things we just get too consumed with the outcome. And if we just focus on crafting a really good journey, the outcome will come. Yeah, I think that's something Carla and I talk about quite a bit. But I think Carla has a very interesting story as well. Her ex-company actually raised funds while the founder raised funds while pregnant, right?
Wow.
Yeah, I think that's a good story for them.
Yeah, that was incredible. I mean, it's a UK startup in the hair care industry, so they do products for hair, curly hair specifically. But yeah, when I was working with them, they were raising investments, and the founder was pregnant at the time and also had another child.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, that was very intense. But eventually, they did raise a very big investment, but she talked about it a lot at the time and how they got rejected multiple times and it wasn't an easy journey. And so I definitely, when I think about this whole thing, I am aware that people, if the investors see a pregnant woman or a woman with children, it's not going to be a straightforward journey. But that could be a good thing and a bad thing. It's also how you see it. And that company and that female founder definitely saw it as a good thing, as an advantage.
Okay. And Carla and I have been able to kind of bring together a very stellar team. I think Carla will share with you a little bit more later on. We've brought together a lot of very good advisors. Our advisors are all male, not necessarily having to put anyone in gender roles, but they are. And they're people who believe in what we do. And ultimately, if you need to look at the gender, we'll direct them to our cash flow.
Yeah.
And that should be our new slogan as good. Yeah, I mean, the numbers don't lie.
No, that's good. That's good. I mean, even as a fellow entrepreneur, I just want to ask, do you guys believe in what Elon Musk says, work 100 hours a week? Or will you be like, no, that's crazy. I need a life as well, right? I mean, as fellow entrepreneurs, curious to hear your thoughts about that.
I mean, I will just say I don't believe in that.
Okay.
I do believe in hard work. And I think when you also really like something, yes, it will be hard, but it won't be entirely draining. So hard work, yes, discipline, yes, but do you need to work yourself to death, to exhaustion? Forget about everything else in your life. I don't think that's needed. But I also think, people are different. People, if they want to prioritize one thing in their life, why not? If that's important to them, if that's all they have in life, why not? But I think we're all different. So if someone wants to work that many hours, sure.
Guessing Janney the same thing.
Yeah, I think she covered all the points. I was actually going to go on that. I kind of believe in a very holistic way of living. So that also means, being not just financially successful, but having healthy relationships, having time to exercise, having time to learn new things, having a sense of adventure, being able to really have a very comprehensive, enriching life. I think that's important. As finding a company and creating a product for people is part of an enriching life. It's not the life itself.
Yeah. No, very good points. And I think very valid, especially entrepreneurs who get burned out and get depression and all that kind of stuff.
No, then they should come to us.
Yes.
That way.
Yes, definitely. Let's have a chat about what you guys exactly doing. If you guys can share more about what exactly two of you guys are working on.
Sure. So we create and provide well-being solutions. Currently, what we have is a holistic wellness booking platform. So that means people can book therapy and webinars and meditation sessions and a range of things with licensed practitioners. And that means from psychotherapists to alternative therapists, there's something for everyone. And we're also in the middle of building a B2B mental health app. So that means that we will be working with companies that are looking to provide mental health solutions to their employees.
Yes. Cool. Janney, you want to add anything to that?
No, Carla summarized it very well.
Okay. Here's my question. How is this going to help anyone? What's the impact it's going to bring to society? How is my life or anyone's life out there going to be better?
Okay, so I'll take this one. Sorry, I know you want shorter.
No, it's okay.
summarized
Go
answer.
flexible. It's cool.
Yeah,
it's all right.
but for this one, I think it's important for us to go in depth
Of
as
course.
to why we're doing this and the kind of, the problems the companies are solving, what we're looking at. So primarily this is in the mental health and well-being conversations. This has really taken center stage the last 2 years, right? And particularly here in Southeast Asia, where our solutions are where we are based. In the workplace and corporations, we really believe they have an increased responsibility, a shared responsibility to their employees, right? And also when they start to do that, these well-being solutions become more accessible to individuals, because many of us kind of do get intimidated by the amount in which these solutions are priced at. So for example, can I give you some stats? Okay, so for say like in Singapore, where I'm based, right? There's surveys by Cigna, there's one from them. It shows that Singaporeans are among some of the most burned out at work globally. 1 in 8, right?
Yeah.
Consider the stress unmanageable. And this is kind of a question for us. Why do people not know how to manage the stress? Why are 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds not knowing how to manage the stress? What exactly is missing, right? And this is an invisible pandemic, as invisible as COVID is, right? But sweeping across Southeast Asia, a lot of these markets are maturing. Many of people moving to middle income, that middle income tier, they're all getting better jobs. They're all moving along their corporate ladder, and we want to make sure that there's support for these people in Southeast Asia. Okay, and with these problems, right? Ultimately, employers start facing low productivity, a lot of high team conflict because everyone's angsty. Everyone doesn't know how to manage themselves. We get lethargic. You just behave in manners that are not very much like you. There's high turnover, absenteeism, and then all these actually has a direct impact to a company's bottom line. Yeah. And there's a lot of stigma in Asia. I think if you talk to a lot of other mental health apps or the few that have already come up in Southeast Asia, you notice that a lot of them talk about Asia being very much more conservative. There's a stigma around sharing your feelings and problems. I don't know if you have that saying, but we have it here that say, don't air your dirty laundry. We're gonna have that. Yes. Is it a thing? Is a thing, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And so I think it's very important to kind of have like a simple and a less intimidating kind of solution for Asia. So we don't just replicate the very serious therapy solutions that's currently in Europe and the States over here, but we really have targeted localized solutions for Southeast Asia. We take really existing elements of this lifestyle. We'll share a little bit more probably later on as to what those solutions might be. Yeah.
And I also want to add, I think it's all about the domino effect, right? People think that, if I meditate, I'll just feel zen today, but what about the rest of my life? Or I'll go to the gym for a better looking body. It's not about that. You do one activity that, if done consistently, will impact the rest of your life and all areas of your life, whether it's your career, relationships, family, everything.
Yes.
So the more you do, it will impact your inner self, but your outer self as well. So mental health literally is a domino thing.
There's been mental health is the rage, by the way. And I mean, in Singapore as well, you have intellect, right? Very big. And I mean, they're globally very big. And I'm sure in Europe as well, you have a few other mental health companies. In Malaysia, you have a few as well. So are these people doing something wrong? Or where are you guys coming at? What's the angle?
Yeah. So I would just say, I would emphasize a little bit more on what I said just now about localizing to the market, really creating features that fit into our lifestyle. So if you know, in Asia, there's a big aspect on gamification. And that is actually one of the core aspects of our product that's very different from all the other competitors out there. A lot of them still try to be a bit more digital health kind of a product. We are a bit more into the health rewards space. So if you look at into some of the HR solutions out there, rewarding employees is a large part of HR solutions basically.
Okay.
And we reward people for taking care of themselves, and that just increases the stickiness as well as the incentive to engage with mental health solutions on our platforms. So I think that's a lot of the mental health apps in Singapore or the ones in Southeast Asia haven't really taken the angle yet. And we just want to take a more lighthearted approach. I think they all do already, but we just have that additional emphasis, and that makes us a little bit different. And let's say for Intellect, I think they are B2C focused. B2B solution hasn't yet really been launched. But I feel like it's a big market, and there's a lot of space for different solutions to come in and try to see which one really sticks. Everyone has a fair game, really.
No, you're right. I think it is a big market, and there's no harm in having more people, more companies helping mental health, because I think mental health is something that a lot of people don't even realize they may have a problem on, right? Could you share on that? Because I myself, or even friends, who exactly are you targeting for mental health? Because I think it's quite clear right now that mental health companies or mental health startups, they're not targeting really the mentally insane, right? They're actually targeting quite normal people. Is it more of enhancing people's mental well-being, or is it actually helping those that have dropped significantly, like who have like mental that degraded really badly? What is it? Or is it both? And if you had to choose one, who would you choose, right? The enhancers or the ones that have degraded and need help in terms of mental?
Yeah, those are some strong definitions. But I think we're definitely focused on people who I don't want to classify it as people who are okay, who are not okay, because I genuinely believe everyone has their own issues. And some people have just not received the right amount or the right kind of help. And that's why they've gone a bit further down the line of feeling horrible, whereas some people feel better. But I think we are all kind of on the same line, but some are just below, some are above, but we all have our own issues. And with this solution, the aim is to make it part of your lifestyle. So to enhance your everyday life, introducing meditation and eating nutritious food, taking things like self-improvement, emotional fitness, mental performance. So adding those things into your lifestyle, and on top of that, looking for things like purpose, finding your own purpose in life, your meaning in life, self-discovery, things like that. We focus on those things, and I think everyone can benefit from those things, because essentially that's the core. That's the core.
Just want to add one more small bit to that. So a very key part of that obviously is prevention. Why don't we just help people who are mentally at the extremes? I think for those people, apps like ours might not be the best solutions for them. You know, it's difficult for an app to really be effective for that segment of people.
Yeah.
And for us, it's really about helping normal people stay sane. I would say, you know, that's where we play at. And increasingly, people want to understand themselves. They want to know what's going on. People are seeking. They're getting a bit more spiritual. They know something's missing. They know what they're feeling. They're increasingly much more aware. So those are kind of people that we want to help them to clarify what they're going through, as well as to, you know, stay happy and create an exceptional life for themselves.
Clearly there's an angle right there, because when you say stuff like understanding your life, understanding so it's not even really, I mean, yes, it is mental, because a lot of times people just lose their direction, right? Forget depression or going through a bad relationship breakup. It's just for normal people. I mean, sorry, I won't classify normal people, but it's really even improving their life further and discovery, self-discovery. And correct me if I'm wrong, but you're going on that lines, right? So
yeah, we have a large aspect
yeah,
in self-improvement, self-discovery.
it's clear to me that you've said it just now, your main focus is B2B.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a business owner, and a business owner has 10,000 employees or 100 employees, whatever business it is. What's your pitch to them? Because ultimately, as a business owner, I see that they want productivity. They want, where's the money? Put it this way, where's the money? So how does that jive with your pitch, or how does it work? Or do you have a separate pitch for individual users who say, hey, I want to go on my journey of self-discovery? What's a business owner going to say to that, right? So how do you handle that thing?
Yeah, so there are many aspects that we cover on the app. We even cover nutrition, sleep. So we target things that are physical as well, and mental, and also emotional. So the spiritual aspect was just some of the things that we shared, because we are a big advocate of it. And it's just a slightly different angle from more of the mental health related angles that most of the other apps take. But of course, you know, we'll cover the benefits of all the repertoire of all four pillars, you know, pitched to corporates, and primarily also that such apps show a company's care and concern for their employees.
Yeah.
We have certain aspects within the app that encourages and builds relationships between the employees and the HR executives and the HR department. We also have additional features that encourage team members to bond with each other, to care for each other, and to engage with each other. So these are additional features that we have not really covered on, just because we were kind of focused a bit more on the mental health aspects. Yeah, but some of the features do come off as more unique, basically propositions for us. And definitely, we'll drive into those points when we speak to companies.
Okay, wow. Carla, anything to add on that? Or that was good. Yeah, no, hey, when I heard that, I'm like, okay, wow. So it's so much more than, okay, it's mental health, but it's also like team bonding and how to be a good coworker, and it moves to the realm of HR as well, right? Like human resource management.
It's all interlinked. When you have a bad relationship with yourself, you're going to have a bad relationship with your parents, with your children, with your partner, with your co-workers. Absolutely. One of the people you cannot manage, your bosses. And you just, sometimes when you're managing, you're working in a team, you just cannot understand why you're pissed off with somebody over certain things. You know, if you have that increased awareness, you go back, you go into the journaling portion of the app, you write that down. We have a closed door app for forum with the HR department that's anonymous, and you go in there and you rent peacefully and nicely. But you do have some aspects of that. I think another angle that we want to look at as well is that it's not just about helping yourself. Once you feel that you are, your awareness is at a certain level, you know how to take care of yourself to a certain level, it's time for you to take care of your co-workers. It's time for you to take care of your family, your friends, your loved ones. So that's how we kind of see helping one person as helping, you know, a multitude of people. You kind of see that wave happening, hopefully in the near future.
Okay.
And that in the workplace is very powerful.
It actually sounds very good. And one thing I come to realize is that it's a good pitch. It's a very good pitch. Fine, right? I don't think companies would object to that at all. So I'm curious to hear honestly from your side, what's the biggest challenge? If I can just understand it clearly, it sounds too good to be true. I mean, it's like you can make someone's life happier and better. Okay, fine. What's the secret sauce? What's the magic? Because like, how does it work, right? Because it sounds too good to be true. Companies are like, sure, where's the catch, right? What's the challenge? Maybe you can share along the lines of whatever you can share on. Yeah, I mean, is it too good to be true?
Let me try.
I think it's a journey. I think it's not always just the ups. There's a lot of downs as well, and I think anyone who's ever had a business will know this. For us, we have had different challenges. The ones, we like to assess things every couple of months and see, okay, what's working, what isn't, and where have we gone wrong. And for example, one of the things is pivoting faster. So we do implement metrics and things for us to help us analyze how we're performing. And then just what we need to do faster is iterating faster and pivoting. That's one of the biggest challenges.
Just let me add a little bit to that. So I think another way of making sure that a lot of things, many people have preached a lot of really good things to us. Okay, reading is good for you. How many people read? I want to get a hands up when you get this podcast out. Okay.
Yes.
Many things are good for many people, but there are people who read 5 books in the stock markets, and they go into the stock market and don't know how to apply it. Some people read novels and they can tell you a really good story. So for us just to kind of quantify exactly what a good outcome is very hard. To say what's a happy person. Some people say happiness is calmness. Some people say happiness is extreme stimulation. Right? I need to be on a roller coaster. I need to be on a holiday. I need to be on a yacht. I need to be on cruising on the beach. I don't know what they're doing. But people have different things that make them happy. So we try our best. We are working with the masses here, right? We don't know. It's not like, Mingyu, you come to and say, I want exactly these things in life, and we craft it for you. Of course, we would love to do that. And, for us to be really close to the companies is to then be able to shift the solutions and customize certain things. Let's say for some of the HR components, some of the bits of the apps can be customized to make sure that we really fit the needs of the company. That's something we can do. And that's minor, right? Some of the minor things we can do. So yeah, I think that pretty much kind of addresses it.
So I guess my question here is, are companies jumping at this, right? You guys have been running startup for, I guess, a couple of years now, had the idea, been pushing it out there. What's the take like? What's the challenges you guys face in this startup? Because companies, I feel, should be a no-brainer. Everyone should be saying, yes, I want my employees to be happier, right? So has there been a big uptake, or what's the blocker for a lot of companies?
So honestly, we've been B2C for the past 1.5 years. We are only just recently doing the prototype testing for the B2B product. So we will be able to tell you in more detail come the next couple of months. But we already have some pledges for some companies who will want to try these products. And I'll say separately, when you speak to HR executives, we have an advisor and an investor who's a HR executive. And she tells us, when we discuss some of these problems in the workplace, what do you want to see? What more can we add to the app to make it not just about making your your employees happy, emotionally resilient? What other things can we do? And I think for a lot of them, they're still trying to figure it out. You know, people in the HR space, none of them have a exact manner in which they know how to best engage their employees, in which they best know how to retain their employees. Everybody's trying to craft different combination of solutions, but no one knows exactly what. And we're just one of those solutions. And we're just trying to stay really close to these people to make sure that when somebody says, hey, I think it's going to work, we're there to say, we'll build it for you and we'll try it with you.
Okay. So will you say that often the goal is there, right? To make employees healthier, make their well-being better, the mental better, sure. But the way you achieve that is not so straightforward. Is it very tricky to achieve that? I mean, what are the ways? Because what I've seen, and I believe you guys are taking a unique gamified angle, right? But for Intellect, where I've played with it before, and a few others, it's videos, it's articles, it's okay, some games in there. Is there many angles to this, and how effective are some of the techniques of certain apps to really help people, right? Like where do you see a direction heading for apps in the next few years, right?
Who's going to take?
Yeah, I think Carla, you want to take this one? You can.
Sure. I think, as Janney has mentioned, we will really see what people like and what people don't like. I think any solution can be effective as long as people actually use it and stay consistent with it. And I think it's all about actually incentivizing people to do it. For example, that's why you have to, whenever you're building something like this, where you want people to actually use your product, you have to insert things that will make them use it every day. And that's why we apply this gamification element, because it's such a big part of the Asian culture, and cashbacks and rewards, and it's such a huge thing. And if you know, it seems like the two don't necessarily connect, mental health and gamification, but if you actually pair it together, why not use one for the benefit of the other?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. What's the vision behind the company, right? I know you guys said mental health. Could you clarify further about what gets you excited for being in this space, and what keeps you guys going, you know, like throughout the tough times as well?
Yeah, maybe I'll do this one. So I think for us, we want to give people a tool. That's the vision, right? To put a tool in people's hands and basically know that people are somewhat taken care of. I think that's kind of what we want people to think about when they engage with our products. Okay. You know, we can't always be there for our friends, our families, our loved ones, to know that there is somewhere they can turn to for at least some material, whether it's your videos or articles, for some form of relief at that point in time, I think is important. We may not think, oh, it's so light, you know, take it lightly. We should not take that kind of aspect lightly. And for us, it's really about creating that tool and empowering people to take back control of their emotional and mental health, as well as resiliency. A lot of people who end up, you know, taking the shortcut out of life, can really benefit from some resiliency in that aspect.
Yeah.
Carla, you want to add?
Yeah, no, I especially during the COVID time, I tell you, COVID has been a killer for people's mental health. Honestly, right? For families, for couples, especially people, because you live in them and you're confined to that space. It's so crazy. Yeah, I agree on that. Cool. So guys, one thing and we did say that we're gonna make this more the casual session, but one thing I really wanted to discuss on was mental health, or even just finding yourself, finding a discovery for relationships. I wondered, does that ever cross you guys that a lot of people that need guidance, that needs understanding, that needs the support is couples. The ones with no education in school about how to maintain a good relationship with your partner, right? Forget the co-worker, right? Your partner is the most important person in your life. And I feel that I personally feel as well, right? Coming out from a 2.5 year relationship, that there's just so much to learn, and people make so many mistakes, and they go into huge mental breakdowns for months on end. Have you guys talked about that angle? Because you guys left the B2C segment. I mean, what happened, right? I mean, is that an angle? That's what I want to know.
Carla, you want to take this? I think you'll be much
The
better.
relationship angle, or you mean the
Relationship
B2C?
angle for, relationship angle for consumer.
Relationship angle. I think Janie's touched on that earlier a little bit, when she said that your relationships are just a reflection of your relationship with yourself. And that means, for example, everything how you think, your beliefs, your limiting beliefs, and the how you view yourself is going to affect directly your relationship with your partner and whoever. So if people have things that, if people don't understand how they behave or why they behave in certain ways, or where that behavior comes from, whether it's from the way their parents were behaving with them, or was it from something else in their childhood, if they don't understand why certain things are happening in their own life, then how will they understand how they can help their own relationship? So it's very connected. So you can't look at relationships as a standalone thing, but you have to view yourself first. I think people often forget that. So you have to look at your own healings, your own traumas, and how you think, and then include your relationship into that as well.
Yeah.
Does that make any sense?
Yeah, you're adding something, Janie?
Yeah, I want to add also that if you look at some of the content later on the platform that we are going to be putting out to corporations, you will also find that we do separate some of the conversations, and one of it is absolutely in love relationships. I think a lot of people go into relationships not really even knowing what they want, and that is a little bit of a red flag. Or sometimes they think they know what they want, but it's actually really not what they want. So it's a bit tricky, right? You have a certain, you view the world with a certain lens, and that is the way in which you engage with your reality, and you go out to seek it. But in your heart, in your soul, in your behavior, in your nature, it doesn't fit. And sometimes people don't understand that. People can find the alignment between their minds, their hearts, and their soul, which kind of a large part of it is their behavior. And I think a lot of this self-reflection, a lot of this kind of apps and journaling and meditation and reading content is going to help. So when you mentioned a little bit like we're leaving the B2C space, I wouldn't really say we are too much in that sense. So the previous B2C product that we have is a full therapy booking platform in which we feel people are just not ready to engage with therapy immediately. So they kind of need a bit of a buffer, and the buffer is going to be this B2B solution. But ultimately, speaking with a therapist is a really good one. I'm sure there are people who kind of have different chemistry, different engagements with different therapies, but a good therapist will really, really help kind of guide you a little bit in the way you think as well.
Yeah, I speak about this angle in relationships because funny enough, right, after I broke up with my ex, the only time she went to a therapist was that time. Not from work stress, not from family issues, was when you break up from your partner. And it was, I guess they need to reflect, they had to go to a therapist, right? And and there was so many things that me or even anyone out there who is like, even younger people who just never been in relationships before, right? It's just so tough, and it's such a big part of everyone's life. My question is that a compelling angle enough for you guys to focus on, to say, hey, because there are apps out there and there are YouTube channels out there like I can't remember what's one called Life School, something like that. There are apps and YouTube channels that focus just on this, to create great romantic relationships. Is this an angle for you guys as a product as well? Do you see it?
Very specialized area, actually. Your life school content is different. Okay, when like Janney and Carla, right? We came together. Our energies match really well.
Yeah.
If let's say Janney goes off with another person, John, the way I behave with John and John's energy with me and John's behavior with me might not click. So conflict is always different because two different types of people come together. So the problem is very specific to that couple. It's very hard to create generic content. What I would really say is that therapists are probably some of the best people to assist with even, people can take a bit more structured and take a more systematic approach. I mean, it's a bit not so romantic. I am a bit. I was like, would you like to have a date? Can we please first take a systematic approach? I mean, like my aunt and uncle, before they got married, they actually went to see a therapist. They ticked boxes, right?
Okay.
They made sure that the things that they cannot live with, that they don't like about each other, that they're okay with it.
Yeah.
For younger couples, they may not have that kind of maturity. Everything's fun and lovey-dovey and butterflies and let's do it. That like songs about let's do something stupid today and get married. Don't. Because that's going to very largely affect your mental health, especially somebody who lives in your home. You bring this person into your space.
Yeah.
You see this person every single day. If this person pisses you off, you are going to be a very pissed off person in general. Yeah.
True. No, that's some good advice coming from experience. I'm guessing like a lot of life experience.
We bring solutions. I don't think we can have any kind of solution besides a therapy booking for relationship problems.
Okay. Yeah, Carla, I mean, any thoughts to that?
I agree with everything. The only thing I would add is I wish we had this kind of subjects and teachings in school. I think it would really help us, how to, what are relationships, what does it mean to be in a relationship, romantic one, a friendship one, because I don't think anybody teaches us, and then we find ourselves in different situations and we don't know how to handle them. But with other things, we learn them in school, so why not this as well? But this includes mental health as well, and why not have that in school? Why not have how to do your taxes and how to start a business in school at a young age, obviously not just at university.
I think yes, they should do that, honestly, right? And I believe there are some elements of that. You have like moral studies. I don't have that in Europe, Carla, but I'm sure Singapore moral studies or life skills, something like that, right? Okay, so you said that, okay, relationships may be too niche. It may not, it's not a focus. You have to go and speak to a therapist. So the solutions you guys are providing, right? What's the clear focus for you guys? If you have to, and you have to focus, right? And yes, it was broad. Just now we heard a lot of things. What's the key focus for the next 6 months? Like what angle you guys, who will you help the most specifically? Yeah. What's the use case?
Specifically, really employees. We are focusing on creating effective team dynamics. Resilient individuals and resilient employees, very harmonious and productive workplaces. That's the focus. So that's why we have all that additional communication features in the app, which you would not find in the other applications. Yeah, that you see.
Okay. So I would like to keep the floor open as well to you guys. Would there be anything you would like to share with the audience of this video, or share your thoughts about anything?
So as we mentioned, we are still in the prototype stage of building this B2B app, and something that we promised ourselves and others is to not just build it by ourselves and our developers and the experts in the field that we work with, but to allow companies and their employees to test it and to tell us, this is what we like, this is what we don't like, please include this, please exclude that. And this is a reminder, if you're listening now and if that interests you, whether you're a company or an individual who works in a company, to reach out to us if you want to test our app or be one of the first few companies or users that test our app. Please reach out. You can reach out, email us at hello@thewellnessquo.com, or you can just follow us on social media at The Wellness Quo.
How do you spell that? The Wellness Quo. I mean, how do you guys come up with the name as well? Yeah.
A question for Janney.
I think really it's about challenging status quo. The quo is QUO.
Okay.
Right? What is currently the conversation around well-being and mental health? We want to challenge that, and it's about basically shifting that mindset, shifting that behavior, and changing the status quo. So it's THE, so the WELLNESS, and it's QUO. So
Okay.
quo.
Yeah, the Wellness Quo. Oh no, it's cool.
Yeah.
It's a cool name. So two of you guys are the co-founders of the business. What are your roles, by the way? I mean, just to share the audience.
Everything.
We do everything, yeah, everything. Currently though, Carla is very focused on product. She's an excellent, really structured, very detailed, has an eye for design. She's perfect in crafting products. She's really managing.
I'm not an expert. You have to highlight it. But I come from marketing, but I recently have been doing product stuff, and I do see myself doing that. And I think I want to develop my skills in that field, and why not, there's still so much time to learn. And
UX.
This is focusing, but I'm not an expert, just to point that.
You say product UI UX, you mean?
Yes.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. And then for me, I do all the partnership stuff. I know you can tell, like the chatty, a bit laughy one. So I do a lot of the partnerships for our B2C stuff. We've got AIA, Viva, we've got a couple of other big names in Magnific's also working with us. Besides that, Janney do sales. I've always done sales before. I also do a bit of fundraising. I was doing a short stint in impact investments. And also, fundraising is very much pitching. Then Carla and I come together to work on decks together. We work on a lot of content. And we work on structuring our tasks and structuring a lot of processes together. But I was saying everybody's doing everything whenever we can.
No, you're right. But sometimes, yes, co-founders need to have some clear defined roles as well. So it's clear that, well, Carla's the, if I can stereotype it, creative one, and Janney's the business one. Carla's
Summarize it up.
We learn from each other, definitely.
Yeah. No, and I must say that it's simply amazing to see two founders especially can stay for this long. And I'm saying from personal experience, I talked to some female entrepreneurs in Singapore, and they're fine, one does business, one does tech, and they're both female entrepreneurs, and after 6 months they close shop, right? And they raise funding too. So I'm like, wow, what happened, right? So I mean, there are stories out there, and I was like, wow, because you just reminded me like how long you guys been together, right? I mean, you guys survived this long, and it felt like ages since I last spoke with you guys. So I think it's a long time when you guys been around, and it's amazing, right? So I think to the people who are watching this segment of the video, which is clearly talking about your company and your team and all that, what sort of help you guys need? Who out there, if it's a designer, coder, techie, business person, whatever they are, what sort of help do you need? How can people help you guys and participate?
So actually a very good opportunity as well. We have a advisory CTO that's helping us with this prototype, and a separate designer is working on it. But for the actual MVP building, could be you guys, Mingyu, could be we spoke about this early this year and late last year.
Yeah.
Mine could be. Of course, really, we kept that open for the CTO to decide, but that's definitely one angle. Separately, of course, spread the word, not of mental health in general. We like people to be talking about it and not just about us, but of course, do share our solutions. Will get in touch with us, try the product out, and I hope that people will want to see this product in their workplace. Yeah, Carla, anything else?
I think you covered it.
Yeah. No, hey, okay, so if I can recap on that, well, you need a tech expertise. And yes, we have spoken in the past, and of course, leave the door open. So CTO, what was the other role again?
So I think it was more like a generic, everybody could be an advocate, and then to also
evangelist and advocate for this thing, right?
Yeah, for us.
Yeah. So they're more like a community evangelist that really supports the vision and the mission, right?
Yeah, we love people to be talking about it more. Don't shame, don't be embarrassed to talk about it. If you start talking about it, your friends will start talking about it, and hopefully the wellness coach sort of goes into that conversation as well. And of course, separately, fundraising. We have a fundraising advisor that's waiting to get going once the prototype feedback is out. So we are looking to raise a certain amount. So if anybody is actually very interested in such solutions or know of investors who would be interested in such solutions, they should definitely reach out to us.
Okay.
Yeah.
To recap what you just said. Just to add on to what you just said. Now you have investors who are watching this video. You may have a techie, you may have a designer, you may have a mental health evangelist who's watching this. Fine. They like the idea, they like everything. But why should they pitch your company and you guys? Why should they help you guys and not another startup out there? What makes you guys, why should they place their bets on you personally and also on the company, right? If they believe in the product, yeah.
Yeah, if they believe I was about to go into one of those points, but firstly, they absolutely have to believe in the mission. We're not just another ROI business for them, because a lot of businesses are. If you don't understand the mission, it's going to be very difficult to work together. So you absolutely believe that this is something you want to champion. An investor wants to champion a mission like that. And separately, of course, you like the product. You believe in the way we are engaging people with the product. I think is important. And of course, we show you results. And then absolutely, yeah, we talk about growing the business together.
Yeah.
Did I miss any points? Because
no,
I think it was
okay. I meant two of you guys as founders. Why should they bet on two of you guys?
Yes, okay, that aspect as well. So Carla and I, we used our pocket money. If you actually know how much we put into this company, and we actually manually learned how to code and created a B2C product. If you see what we have right now, and the amount of money that we spent into creating this prototype and potentially MVP, I think many people in that sense are sort of impressed with the way we manage our cash flow, and the way we keep expenses incredibly low. So there was this incident in which we actually shared with one angel investor. She was just curious, right? So she is a friend, she chats a bit, and then she asked about our expenses, monthly expenses, and I said it, and she's like, "No way." She said, "I'll put in money immediately." And I think for a lot of, we're very thrifty, Carla and I, we're very careful with the way money is spent. And I think for a lot of investors, it depends what type, but investors would like to hear that we are cautious with the way we engage with, utilize the money. And of course, at different stages, when we are focusing on hyper growth and speed and quality, then of course we might splurge a little bit more. But besides that, we're very resourceful. Two of us, we picked up things along the way. We iterated. We pick up the phone and we'll call AIA. We got a partnership. I go on LinkedIn and I get the head of partnerships of Grab. Nothing eventually was able to come out of it, but almost all of them respond. We speaking to Google, like literally LinkedIn. Damn. No fear. So I think if you don't believe in our conviction and our ability to bring this product out, I don't know where else you're going to look. I'm sure there are many tough founders out there as well, but if you believe in the mission and product, then you should absolutely believe in the capabilities of us bringing this product and business thus far.
I can hear the energy in that statement. How about Carla? Anything else to add on your side?
See, this is why Janney is the sales, the business-oriented person. She gives it to you straight.
Yeah.
I share this thing. I obviously agree with all of this, but Janney just puts it beautifully and is able to look you into the eyes and convince you.
Oh no, that's amazing. That's amazing. And I think, you know, like you have some people who work better in the front and talking, and some people who work better behind the scenes. And I think, you know, there's benefits on both sides to things, right? And Carla seems like a person that can talk, honestly. Like she looks like very outgoing as well. So it's not like Carla looks like total introvert or anything. But clearly Janney's the salesperson here.
Leader.
No, it's good. It's good. Cool, guys. Hey, it's been an amazing chat. Really with you guys. And seriously, I think you guys are working on a space that is really needed. I mean, me speaking from a personal level on, well, relationships, but from just any other level, from mental health to depression to founders, just, you know, having it tough, you know, it's tough, right? Any final words for the audience before we end?
Well, I don't know if you're okay with answering some of our questions. So since you were on that, as providers, right? Could we just understand a little bit on how you dealt with your situation, or
your situation,
particularly in your relationships, because you brought it up, and I think for you it was a very heavy topic. How did you kind of overcome that? Did you get any help anywhere? Okay,
no. So here's the thing. What honestly really helped me was the videos. I must say that. So it's a very famous YouTube channel. I think it's called Life School, something. Elaine de Botton, very famous. They have a very I think 3-4 million YouTube hits. They have these short video clips talking about relationships, talking about like what you should do, when you should break up, when's the right one. So they are short animated videos, 3 minutes long, very popular videos. Really helps me a lot and gives me a perspective about relationships and how they work. So I must say that those videos.
Was it clarity you got, or did
clarity? Honestly, I saw 1 or 2 videos and I was like, wow, that's exact, because there's no one to guide me in life, especially in the relationship. There's no one to guide me on that. I had no one. I was searching the web like crazy. What I found was his videos, and his videos really gave me the courage to say, you know what, I have to do this for my life and for her life as well. So it gave me clarity when there's no one else out there. And you can't speak to parents sometimes, you know, a bit too shy or whatever. But the videos were amazing, I must say that. Yeah. It was really good. Yes.
Would you ever speak to a therapist about your relationship problems?
No, I mean, hey, if the cost is right, sure. And I believe in therapy. I believe in even speaking, even before relationship, speak to a therapist to just, or even solve problems. Yes, I believe in that. A lot of times, just people, it's a lot more hassle than just watching a video, right? A lot more hassle. You got pay, you got whatever. It's a lot more hassle. Yeah. So.
Well, it's because it gets uncomfortable, right? But when you watch a video, you just watch and absorb. But when you speak to a therapist, you actually have to dig in and find out who you are, so it can get
and it's cheaper to watch a video. If we talk about price, it's cheaper to watch a video.
Yeah. So if somebody pays for you, let's say the Malaysia government tomorrow, they decide, we're going to cover the price of all therapy sessions. Yeah. Malaysians need it. Will you go and get one?
Maybe why not? Why not? Honestly, the more people do it, the more they will. I'm just going to plug this in. The more people do it, the more they will. So I think definitely, right? You can't scale very well because it's therapy. You gotta go one by one, is manual, whereas millions can watch a video. But it definitely serves a purpose, right?
Mm.
For the more complex cases, I would say if I still struggle past the video, after watching video, I still struggle, fine, go to a therapist, right? I think video is the first layer.
Mm.
Yeah, or, I
Okay.
mean, similar channels like it, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I think we've once again and many times again been confirmed of the way people engage with content and go through the cycle of looking for help.
Mm.
Yeah, that's good.
Exactly,
Thanks for
exactly.
sharing, Mingyu.
No worries, no worries. And yeah, I think this but I must say my own story is not reflective of others. There are a lot of even just personal friends that go through way more emotional struggles, way more, and and like get way more depressed than some people, right? So I think a lot of them need different help. But I'm gonna pause the video here, say bye bye.
Thanks.
Thank you
Hope
everyone
to
for
see you in
listening.
Malaysia.
Yes, see you soon and see Carla in Croatia.
Bye bye.